Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to Philosophies, where we question everything. My name is Philip Micha, and it is so good to see your beautiful, smiling faces once again. Today, we are talking about a question that, even for myself, still confuses me. Now, I grew up in Boy Scouts. I eventually became an Eagle Scout. I lived in an RV down by the river for close to 2 years. So I have been around nature. I've been around the scene. I've seen it, and nature still confuses the hell out of me. But with that, the question that we are talking about today is there an inherent order to nature? Or is it just left to chaos and chance? Now, this question, when we really dive into it, we need to understand something. We need to understand what order is, and we need to understand what chaos is. And this is two sides of the same spectrum. This is two sides of the same coin, where the coin is this inherent question of what is nature? Is it order or is it chaos? So let's start with order. Now, order is this arrangement, let's say, of places or people or things in a relatively familiar pattern. Now, when we look at patterns in nature, we start to think, okay, what kind of patterns are there? Maybe there's patterns of weather. There's patterns in genes that animals carry, or plants. We start seeing a lot of patterns in nature. There's even patterns with geometry in nature. The cauliflower, the pine cone, there's so many patterns in nature. So, okay, maybe nature is inherently ordered. But when you really dive into the data, you'll find that as this pattern goes on, boom, something happens to absolutely mess up this pattern. A crazy storm comes a brewing. A mutation in genes ultimately makes an animal go crazy. Nature is not ordered. There is no way that our human construct, order is a human construct. This is something that we created to feel safe, to feel cozy, to feel comfortable, so that we may have order in our society, but we can't expect that to go over to the natural world. Now, okay, nature is not order. Let's move on to chaos. If we're looking at chaos, are we thinking of a complete disorder? Now, if we created order and this is how we want to model our societies, then chaos is that complete disorder of society. Explosions going off, crime just going free, complete and utter chaos. Now, let me explain that the natural world and all its misunderstanding and all its complexities is not chaos. Chaos is the opposite of order. So if it's not chaos, it's not order, well, maybe it's the in-between. Maybe it's this thing called organized chaos. And now, organized chaos in itself is a human construct. As we try to order things around, as we try to make society perfect, as we try to build the patterns of a perfect utopia, we create this dystopia. Because humans are not perfect. We make mistakes. Things happen. The natural world happens. Storms, weather, hurricanes, earthquakes happen. And they throw off the complete order of this. This is organized chaos. So if nature is not order, if it is not chaos, and is not in between, I don't even think nature lies on this spectrum. Now, if nature doesn't lie on the spectrum, then that means nature has a complexity to it. In our eyes, nature is so complex that we lack the understanding to even describe it. We do not have the vocabulary. We do not have the mental capacity to understand the universe, life, the natural world of things. And we might say this randomness, this act of just being, because nature is just being. It does not label a tree a tree. It does not label a rock. Nature just is. And we start to sit with nature, and we start to sit along that lake bed or on the highest mountain or in a forest of calmness. When we start to actually understand and see these things in nature, we start to perceive that we don't need to actually understand this. We then are able to separate this spectrum that we've been talking about and nature. They are two separate entities, because nature is going to go on being as it is. It was here long before humans existed, and it is going to be here long after humans are gone from this planet. Now, what am I trying to say here? Am I saying that nature should just not be looked at? Should we not try to understand it? Should we not try to save it? It doesn't matter. Screw it all. No, this is not what I'm trying to say at all. I'm trying to say the complexity. We cannot understand the complexity of nature. And when you really think about that, there's a beauty to it. There's an absolute beauty to the lack of understanding that nature is. If we were to understand all the answers of the universe, all the answers of life, we would stop appreciating it. We would stop seeing the absolute beauty, the absolute pureness that nature brings us. When we're sitting upon that lakefront, on top of the highest mountain, or in that forest, that lack of understanding, that complexity is beauty. That loss of words, that breathless statement is beauty. It's just something to think about. Nature doesn't have to be anything. We don't have to be anything. We can just live as we are, who we are, to the fullest of our ability. Life is simple, and nature is a portal to that simplicity, is a portal to that beauty. Thank you guys so much for being here. It means the world to me that you are here at Philosophies, where we question everything. I am Philip Micha. Thank you guys again for being here. I will see you next time for another video. Take care.